welcome everyone once again to our Female Entrepreneurs Worldwide #Ask Few Anything online mentoring sessions. And for those who have joined with us before, or it's your first time, just a reminder, these sessions are to get experts in different fields together with our members and then get direct mentorship. So we want these sessions to be interactive. Remember that you can type in the questions in the chat box or raise your hand, make a movement so you can ask the question directly to our speaker. My name is Yamilette Cano and I'm the founder of Louder. I'll be your host today once again. Thank you for being here and connecting. And today's theme, it's a little bit different from what we have had in the past on marketing and growth, but still we're going to be talking about how to build and expand community and create a successful social enterprise in the environmental space with our speaker today, Roland Sharman. He is the founder of HKOutsider. This is an outdoors community where they do many different outdoor activities, but I'm going to let him talk more about what they do and what is the sense of community that they have. So without further ado, I want to welcome on this online stage, Roland. Hi, how are you? Nice to have you today.
I'm great, Yamilette. How are you?
Great. Thank you too. On a Wednesday afternoon for lunchtime, it's great to have new insights and learnings on the perspective of how to run a social enterprise. So to start, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? I know you've been in Hong Kong for a long time. You have explored the outdoors of Hong Kong for many years. So how did you start with HKOutsider?
It's interesting, actually. Everyone knows, well, after a short while, they certainly know that I've been in Hong Kong for 46 years now. And I think a lot of people that come into the community, they deem that, oh, wow, he's been everywhere. He's explored every corner of Hong Kong. But in reality, HKOutsider itself has only been going for I guess, four years now. Mm-hmm. I've been pushing the boundaries in outdoors for myself, my personal goals, maybe for 7 years. Listen, Hong Kong Outsider, you know, I have a finance background. I grew up in Hong Kong, and this is my home. I love the environment. I've always loved hiking. But, you know, in finance in Hong Kong, it's very intense, as we all know. And we went through a process, like a lot of people do, in facing personal challenges. And for me, I realized that I needed to somehow change my behavior and mindset. And one of the key things I've always wanted to do in the outdoors, but never could get myself over that boundary, was a very clear fear of heights, serious fear of heights. And as a lot of people know that suffer from this, it only gets worse as you get older. So I thought, okay, I'm in this dark place. I needed to empower myself. So I came to the realization that I needed to push myself into a vulnerable arena in order to accomplish other goals and find a new path for myself. I always like to say, #find your own path. And this was one of the clear things. I needed to change behavior and mindset. I needed to find a new way forward, and challenging myself to scaling walls in a converted squash court in Kowloon with people I didn't know was challenging, but overall empowering and transformational. And that started my process into learning more about what Hong Kong had to offer in extreme sports like canyoning. Rock climbing is kind of popular now. It's well regarded overseas. It has a big community in Hong Kong. Canyoning, not so much. And canyoning involves entering in the canyons in a gorge or ravine where there's a water course and following that water course down. So sometimes it's just down climbing. Sometimes it's abseiling or rappelling for the Americans. Everyone else in the world calls it abseiling. And so you're abseiling over waterfalls and doing big cliff jumps. They could be 2 meters high. They could be 15, 20 meters high, which is a significant feat. So all sorts of challenges that involved vertical environments. You know, it started organically. I started taking friends and showing them what I discovered through people showing me and my own self-exploration, challenging them in these outdoor environments. It gave them the same transformational experience. And really, that's how Hong Kong Outsider started.
How did you decide to focus your energy? You were saying that you wanted to break bad habits, good or bad habits, in order to create a new path. But when you say, okay, I'm going to focus on the outdoors and put all my energy there, and perhaps start to reach out to my friends and invite them to come with me. Is this the way that it all started? You were just a few friends, a group of friends going out and enjoying the outdoors, or you really had this idea of thinking, you know, I grew up in Hong Kong, and most people have not seen this part of Hong Kong, and I want them to experience this.
Yes, that's very much part of it. For me, it's about showing people alternative Hong Kong. The nature here is phenomenal, and everyone knows there's hiking in Hong Kong, but you know, just behind the scenes, off the beaten trail, there's so much more on offer. It did start with taking friends out, friends that also needed maybe perhaps a new direction in life. And I always loved taking photos. I'm not a professional photographer in any way, but I love taking photos. I know the basic skills in taking photos. I've always had various cameras over the years, and I've practiced. And I edit as well using proper editing suites. So you can create some good content. And as a fun thing, I started an Instagram account as an older person, you know, 5 or 6 years ago when Instagram was all about. I mean, Instagram's been a buzz for a long time, but I remember going into it, but I knew I needed to do something different. Again, this was part of my process. I'm not going to stick a photo up on Facebook. I have my issues with Facebook and what that's all about, even though my account is still live. But Instagram was different. It was just a picture. It's just a little message. It doesn't have to be very commercial. It doesn't have to, you know, show all your sort of opinions about the world. It's just, hey, look at this. This is a great picture of Hong Kong. So I started this Instagram account. And a lot of following came from that because, oh, wow, this is Hong Kong. Because I wanted to try and showcase Hong Kong in a different perspective, showing the outdoor side of it, showing people engaging in the outdoor and what it had to offer. And the people, I remember 10 years ago, everyone was saying, where are the waterfalls in Hong Kong? Oh my goodness, I've got so many waterfall places now, I don't even know what to do with myself. We love those things. And I think, you know, maybe since COVID in Hong Kong, everyone's exploring Hong Kong a lot more. Obviously, our community's expanded in line with that as well. But people are now discovering that, wow, Hong Kong is the place to be. Certainly from an outdoor perspective.
I want to ask you two questions here because you're talking about the power of social media in building community. Would you say that it's very important when we want to build community, different from creating a product that we want to build a brand based on a product, you have a service. So is social media very important for you to build this community? And would you say so for other entrepreneurs that think, okay, I want to create groups like this one, the Female Entrepreneurs Worldwide is also a community. And I know they're very, very active on their social media. So would you say that social media has become a very powerful tool for yourself? And then the second thing would be about COVID. You mentioned that COVID has changed a little bit the idea of people about Hong Kong. Has your business grown even more because of this situation?
Wow, that's a lot of questions and things to remember, Yamilette. Thank you.
Social media first.
Social media, I think we all know the answer to that. It's absolutely essential. If you want to listen, we're all salespeople, no matter what background we come from. If you've got a positive message to sell, or even a negative one for that matter, as far as I'm concerned, it's all about affecting positive change for people. You need to share that message. You need to sell that message. And that is a medium that has become standard in today's world in terms of communicating, whether you're selling a product, where you're selling a mission, you're selling your community, your passion, your goals, your ideals, and your values. You have to be in social media. I don't care to overly opinionize my commentary. I put little comments. I might title it if it looks like something interesting. Every now and again, like my recent post, which actually got quite a lot of likes actually, with a big helicopter in the foreground, but it was really unique to see this amazing machine coming down to help someone stranded, and I was literally right there. If you want to have a look at it, it's an amazing photo. But the message for me, it was clear. You know, the guy was struggling with heat exhaustion. Someone died this Sunday in Hong Kong, unfortunately. heat exhaustion and dehydration is a massive issue, and people take it for granted. People don't know how much they're sweating. They might feel it, but they're not consuming enough, and they're not preparing in advance. So that was a message I wanted to get out to help people look after themselves. Because more and more people are taking to the outdoors because of the environment, which we'll touch on in a question, because of this, and maybe they're not so experienced. And unfortunately, this has led to some fatalities and injuries, an increase in fatalities and injuries in Hong Kong. I mean, that helicopter, I found out it's been 1,200 times.
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
60 of those are for fires, but everything else is, emergency related call outs, which is a lot,
So would you say that, sorry, Roland, would you say that social media, it's also helping you? It's one of the steps that you need to consider in order to build your community, but to tell people what they need to know. It's just also to educate them, not only to showcase a pretty photo.
Well, the other side of that very particular post was, dehydration is a real thing. And the second thing is climate change, and the climate crisis is real, people. We need to affect change. So yes, it is all about sending your message of education, because this is what we're all about. If you care for the environment, if you care for yourselves, mental illness, overall well-being, you have to communicate and you have to share that message. Otherwise, and lead by example. If I'm not communicating via social media, I'm not doing my job.
Okay. What about then, as I said, has COVID changed the landscape of your business in this past few years, where people really wanted to go out more so than before? Is it a trend, or do you think it's going to continue this way?
It's a little bit unique. Firstly, I wouldn't consider ourselves as a business. I like to say it's a community, because money is certainly not my primary goal. But yes, obviously the community has expanded greatly with the restriction on travel, people looking to keep themselves busy. For part of the time we had lockdown, we couldn't do things as well because of the amount of people that are allowed out together. But when things started opening up, we could do some smaller group activities again. Yes, it's certainly increased because of that. But I think over the last couple of years, it was already we were gaining momentum anyway, through people coming into the community. Our community is so broad. We have people from government workers to university students from all over the world, studying in Hong Kong, to socialites, to actors, to you name it, we have it. I mean, it's just amazing getting all these people together. And that's what we're all about. We're all about bringing individuals together. We don't need to bring tribes of people together that are confident with each other. We want to bring individuals together and help them find a different path themselves, help them improve their well-being in an adventure environment. Now I've gone off on a tangent, Yamilette. I forgot what the question was.
Has COVID helped expanding your business? Because people, as you were saying,
so it very much has. But I think the word has been on the street about our community for a while. People have seen, some people come for the Instagram shots with the cool background of the city. We do night hikes, which is quite unique. And all my hikes are not just walking along trails. They involve scrambling, which is a basic form of climbing. So you're using your hands as well as your legs. We're not walking upstairs. So I like taking people off piste to give them a real challenge. And adventure is different for everybody. So there was already a movement, people coming for the Instagram shots, seeing the Instagram grow, people understanding the benefits and the physical fitness side of it. And actually a lot of people want to come and meet people.
Okay.
It's all about meeting different people. A lot of people that are new to Hong Kong, believe it or not, a lot of people have come to Hong Kong in this crazy time. Always surprises me. So there was already growing on that side, but yes, COVID gave it certainly an adrenaline shot, in the arm.
I guess it sounds like with community, you have to take advantage of the opportunities. You were growing already, you had a certain amount of followers, but with this new situation, you didn't just stay there and wait, okay, when are things going to reopen? You just adapt your business and continue educating people.
You're always adapting. Yeah.
What are a few of the challenges that you have faced in this journey building up your community? Do you have any experiences that you want to share with us?
The challenge is always finding someone as passionate as you are, who has the same mindset and the same goals, to help you on this journey. We have now, I think, about 700 people in the community. Not everyone's active, but you still have to engage. Yeah, I think it is. The idea for us is to bring people that come into the community. They don't just come for one experience. They come, and that's the idea. We want to bring you and take you on a different journey through all the adventurous pursuits you can do. And actually, there's a lot of commonality across them. So if you come out canyoning with us, you're going to have experience for co-steering. And if you do our hikes, which are scrambling hikes, a lot of climbing, rock climbing, obviously the same. It's just a question of how we approach the safety angle and how we're protecting people. But the skill sets and the skills you learn, are common across everything. Now, I got off on a tangent again. I'm terrible, aren't I?
Challenges, because we all know as entrepreneurs, as you were saying, you want to build a team that it's as passionate as we are when we start our businesses. And most of the time it's not the reality. So how do you manage that challenge?
So thank you for bringing me back on track. So because we have all these people coming through the community and learning these skills, we have this sort of guiding program. And once you come a few times, you actually kind of want to do more. And then you want to start helping other people as well. You come on these, for people that come the first couple of times, it feels a lot less like physical exercise and more like, an enhanced sense of achievement and self-worth with the fitness and the improvement of overall well-being at the same time. I always talk about well-being. For me, it really is, because that's where it started for me. It was about my mental illness. It was about overcoming my personal boundaries. But as they come through this, they feel empowered and they want to share that. Of course, they want to share that. So then we create a group of what we call trainee guides, and they come through and they work their way up and they become leaders in the group as well and guide their own hikes or climbing days or what have you. So the biggest challenge is keeping up with the growth. COVID is really blowing up, and we've got people coming in like 50, 100 a week. Through sometimes it's eased off a bit now as the towns come back to normality and people can go out again. So people are not waking up so early to go out adventuring with me at 6 a.m. in the morning. That is the biggest challenge, coping with the scale. But that's how we do it. We're naturally positioned to, if we're doing our job properly, educating people, bringing people into the community, they're learning and then themselves turning from mentees into mentors. And that is the process that we're quite proud of as well. So we're kind of self-sufficient, although coming to grips with technology and processes behind the scenes is also a challenge. And you have to seek out help for that and never be scared to ask for help. I'm a 50-year-old person moving around in Wix and all these fancy sort of things, and it's tough sometimes. But once you get it right, again, it's empowering.
It's for us to see that it doesn't matter the age. We can always start our own businesses, our own ideas, or just follow whatever passion that we really, really believe in, and change people's lives. You're talking about, and I'm going to go around in circles with this point. You're talking about the backstage, and a lot of people and entrepreneurs, we don't talk about the backstage. We just want to showcase the fancy front of the house, which would, in your case, perhaps would be the experience per se or the social media. But what happens? How do you juggle? As we become entrepreneurs, but we can be solopreneurs, and then we have these people working with us and helping with us, but not all the time, full time. So how do you juggle that backstage stress in that you want to keep up with the software changing or the new trends? You wake up one day with 1,000 more followers. That's a dream of a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of people, even influencers in social media, right? We want to wake up and, oh my God, there's so many followers. You don't want to lose them. So my question would be, how do you juggle with all these many things that happen in the backstage? Do you have a routine, or you just follow that passion? What happens in the day-to-day?
Wow. Yes, you have to have a routine. You're right. The front end experience is generally quite good for people, and it looks amazing and it looks all automated. But the back end is is far from that. I think a lot of the problems that people have, and perhaps I fall into this bracket a little bit as well, is I'm reluctant to let go of, say, my baby. And frankly, then if you don't let go, it becomes overwhelming. It's impossible to keep up. And you can't micromanage. You just have to surround yourself with people that are smart, that have the same moral compass and guidelines, and goals. But they're going to have their own personality, and you've got to understand that you've got to give up. You've created something. Your character and your goals and your ideals are all very much part of the community, which I know they are. But it's going to evolve, like everything evolves, and you just have to let go and let the people help you. So for that simple question is, I ask for help. I need help with some of these things, and I work with them. I don't let go and just let people do it. I try and educate myself as well at the same time, because that's very important. You have to continually educate yourself. You have to continually train, change and change with the environment, etc. There's nothing you can achieve on your own. You can work hard, but again, it's about the people that support you. It's about engaging with them, finding that support within the community, and that true community spirit. So yeah, you ask for help.
That's completely true. As you were saying, if you're building a community, you cannot act as if you're not a community and try to solve everything by yourself.
Yeah.
You said in the beginning, people come to you because perhaps they want the Instagram shot, or they're curious about knowing other places in Hong Kong. But then when they have the experience, they almost feel like a transformation, and they open and they just go through battling those fears. Perhaps they don't know that jumping from a cliff 15 meters could feel so dreadful, but then when they experience it at the end of the day, they have such a wonderful taste. How is this helping people in their daily life?
I think this is a very key element of what I'm trying to achieve. I can talk simply about what I mentioned earlier about, some people come out for fitness. For me, when I take people out, people say, well, you've done this hike 50, 100 times. I say, yeah, but I like doing it for myself because it's good for my fitness. You've got to build a strong core of fitness as you grow older. So for me, I'm helping myself, and I know someone else is going to get enjoyment and something positive out of it as well. But you talk about an enhanced sense of achievement and well-being. I think this translates very well into everyday life, because I don't want to say it's as drastic as a life and death experience, because it's not. We're very focused on safety. We protect your lives. That's our primary goal, obviously, to have a safe experience. But it's pretty damn close to a life or death experience. You do something wrong, or I do something wrong, or, and I make people own their decisions. I make people, I'm not like a proper tour agency or outfit. Like if you go traveling to New Zealand, they will always have a safety line. That's not, if you're doing an abseil, that's not abseiling. You need to own it. You need to do your own abseil. Yes, I'll protect you, but I'll protect you in a different way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you can, and this is a challenge. Sometimes it's the height, whether you're doing the two key things that people are most challenged with are abseiling, which means going off the cliff on a rope, and you have equipment, you have a harness, and we have what we call a descender. And the descender is a little piece of metal this big attached to your harness. So it's a question of, do I trust the equipment? This is a scary environment for me. Or if you're just jumping into a rock pool of water or off a cliff into the ocean, it's that fear of heights. And now, wow, do I trust myself? Can I, what can I do better? But effectively there isn't. So when you go through this experience, the elation of challenge yourself, and that's just, this is where, as a leader, you've got to wear many hats. Actually, you've got to be the technical instructor, you've got to be the friend, and you've got to be the psychologist as well, and try and help them make their decision. You can't just tell them to jump, go 1, 2, 3, and just go. You need to help them through the decision process themselves. But once they commit, and I always know before we even start this situation, I've stood with many people at the top of the rock, for 15, 20 minutes discussing the various issues with them. And I always know within the first 10 seconds whether I'm going to be there for 20 minutes or whether they're going to jump, because you can feel it, because it's all in their head. It's all the mental aspect of everything. And that's what you're going to try and help manage it. You don't have to be the most physically fit to come out with us. You certainly don't have to have the right physique. It's all about the mental attitude. You don't have to have the ability that will help you and train you with that. Damn it, I've done it again. Get me back on track, please, Yamilette.
How can they use that in their daily life? If I'm a corporate worker, how is this going to help me?
Yeah. So to go through all this process, the mentoring, the lessons, and then do the feat, do the big jump or abseil off it's the most natural high and elation you could possibly feel. And to do that with people that actually can be strangers. We do have some friends coming along, but as I said, we bring individuals together. Do it with strangers that have a shared goal in trying to complete the course or the hike or the canyoning experience or whatever it is. It is totally empowering, and it makes it. I think it belittles, maybe, I don't know what everyone's day-to-day job is, but if you're working in an office and you've got a boss that's a bit of an ass, I think you're going to be less worried about that when you've taken complete control of your life, you've owned it, and you've got that sense of accomplishment there. It's incredibly empowering to go through that process. And I think you really become one with yourself. You're living in the moment, you're doing this adrenaline-fueled activity, then you come back to work and it all seems a bit, whatever. That's the feedback I've been getting from people anyway. And I get it. I hate public speaking. Well, I used to anyway. Now I'm out there doing briefings with hundreds of people all the time. I'm not bothered. I know I'm doing good. So that's all we have to be thinking about. And for other people, if they feel empowered because of that, that's great.
It feels, that if anyone wants to go into the social enterprise arena, it feels like that community has to be giving and taking at the same time. You are giving these people the empowerment, the trust that they need to build in order to take control of their lives, but they're also giving you those moments where you can develop yourself, you grow as a leader, and you're learning on how to read people, how to react to them depending on the situation. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
And that takes me to my second question, which would be, how do you choose these leaders? What is your philosophy when it comes to choosing your teammates? Because I don't feel that they only have to be technicals or experts in belaying someone or hiking techniques. They have to be more than that. What's that philosophy that you take?
As I said briefly in the last question, we have to wear multiple hats. We have to be the leader, which is the technical instructor, understand the technical aspects of what we're doing and the safety aspects associated with what we're doing. You have to be the friend. Sometimes you have to be the enemy as well to get them going a bit. But that's just bravado and fun, and you can feel that, and people understand that. But sometimes people need a little push, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've been called the drill sergeant more than once or twice, I have to say. And then you have to be the psychologist, or you have to be the supportive friend. So for me to find that it's difficult, and then you have to have someone aligned with your passion. It's difficult. But these are the things that I look for when I have people coming through. It's really, for me, it's not necessarily about the technical prowess. If he's the best abseiler or instructor or whatever field he comes from. Our leadership group currently has people from all facets of life. They can't all maybe guide a canyoning activity, because the canyoning activity, like rock climbing, is very technical. Lots of ropes, lots of skills, lots of safety procedures. You need a lot of experience for that, but it doesn't mean they can't be a leader in other aspects, contributing to the community and wherever their skill set lies, whether it be social media, for instance. Some can lead other hikes, but they all have to have the sort of same connection that I do. They want to teach people. They want to be passionate about helping people achieve for themselves, because as they have, as they've come through the community. And it's that sense of helping others, which is key more than anything else. You know, for me, this is not about being an adventure company. It's about being a company to help people, bring people together to help themselves and improve well-being. You know, as I said, I could be an adventure rock climbing company and take 50 people out. It just doesn't, that won't do anything for me at all. Have I gone off tangent again? No, I think I'm okay.
No, that was perfect. To be an entrepreneur in the social enterprise, again, as I said, industry or arena, you need to have strong soft skills and also be very empathetic. I do have to say, I try to jump. The first time I went out with you guys, you made me jump from this 10-meter or 6-meter. It looked very, very high. And
7 meters, I believe it was.
7 meters. And you knew what to say. I wasn't having it. I was hesitating. And then you just said to me, because I guess my personality of my ballerina background, you said, you don't have to do it. That's okay. And that's the thing that pushed me, not the encouragement, but more the, you can do it. It was more like, that's okay. You don't have to do it. So knowing how to treat people and talking to them.
Everyone is different. Absolutely. Everyone is different. And you need to find that. And it's actually quite easy to find. If you're an empathic person, empathetic, how do you pronounce it?
I guess it's empath or empathetic. Yeah.
Empathetic. Yeah. Okay. You have to be that kind of person. You have to be a giver. You know, it's for me, as I said, you have to be kind. You have to give. You want to be inherently. My whole life, I've wanted to help people, or rather, I've wanted to please people because it makes me happy. So I'm always wanting to do things for people, whether they need that particular thing or that particular help, or to tell them how amazing they are or not. But I've always wanted to feel useful, I think is the right thing. So, and there's people that are like that. There's people that want to help people. And we also know there's takers in this world, and there's people that just don't care about anybody except themselves. There's no room for people like that in my community, I can tell you. And this is part of, you know, if it's not, the value is not aligned with me, you're not welcome. And I don't care, your money is no good. So that's what it's all about.
It reminds me of a conversation we had a few months ago with Cara Logan Berlin, and she was talking about fundraising, and because it also has to do with asking about giving and having that balance between the passion that you have and what you want to get out of people and what you want people to get out of the experience. What would be your 3 recommendations, or if you have 1 or 2, any recommendation that you may have for our entrepreneurs that want to be focused in the social enterprise world or in the environment world, that creating a community? You said you have to be a giver. You said you have to build
you have to
team.
have a passion. You have to be kind. Yeah, for sure. I think you need to have a clear goal of what you want to achieve without question. And the goal, you know, it's like, okay, how am I going to come up with an idea for a social enterprise or some sort of entrepreneurial goal? You know, you can't measure it in terms of monetary value or success. Personally, I think you need to try and have a goal that's associated with affecting positive change in the mission that you're working towards. That is key. You have to have the passion with anything as an entrepreneur in any space or whatever. You have to be passionate about it. You don't do it, you know, because it's a hell of a lot of work. I can tell you that. And I've generally been quite a lazy person my entire life. And I shouldn't really be saying this online, but I've kind of coasted through in finance and been very successful. And then I've had challenges personally, which has affected that. But I've been generally kind of a lazy person. But once I came into this arena and I started doing this, again, it comes back to my, you know, when I was younger, I've always wanted to please people. Oh, look at this cool thing I've just found and how it makes me feel and how positive it is. And it's given me the courage to improve my life. You know, that is, you know, that's what it's got to be all about that. It's got to be all about affecting that positive change and having that goal. And I think you have to lead by example. Okay. You have to lead by example, talk the talk, walk the walk, and that's how you inspire change.
You don't have the passion.
Yeah, without the passion, you're not going to do the work. And trust me, there's a lot of work.
Yeah. How can you make it sustainable? How can you ensure that with the growth that you're having, it's still going to be sustainable? Is it because you are creating a very good team, or is there any other things that you must do to?
I think we're in a unique position the way we're structured, to really, we're self-sustaining in a way, because people are joining the community, then more people are moving up and wanting to help. Some people want to be passive and just enjoy the experience, but a lot of people actually, they want to be asked to do more. They come to you and say, can I help out? And you said, yeah, well, this is the guiding program. We'll give you this and we'll teach you more of the technical aspects. And this is what I'm working. I want to work more around the well-being and mental illness aspects of it all. But for us, for us, as the community grows, we should have more guides, we should have more passion, we should have more aligned visions within our leadership group, and it works very well for us. But handling growth is always a problem. But that leads back to one of our earlier questions. You just need to ask for help, and I think help. You could look internally for advice. I think that's very empowering for people in your leadership team to feel part of the process. I don't think that's anything new in terms of business strategy or what have you. You want to empower them. You might not listen to them, but you're going to ask them. But it's all about being part of the process and including them in part of the process. And you need to look externally, maybe to a mentor, maybe to someone that you trust, that doesn't have maybe the unique insight into what you're doing, that can give you a different perspective, because you definitely need some kind of 360 view on what you're doing. I'm always asking people what they think, whether it's about, is this too much, or is this too much money, or is this an appropriate activity? Look at the safety standards. You've got to question yourself. You test yourself. We say in canyoning, which is my primary passion in terms of activity, that it is an incredibly dangerous environment where we go in. It's much more dangerous than rock climbing, or depending on the arena, of course. But the environment is generally much more hazardous than anything else. And you know what? I've done it again. Can you remind me where I was?
You ask people.
I love going off on these tangents.
You ask people their advice when you're in these situations in order to sustain your business and your community.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I was trying to get to when I was talking about the canyoning. But it is a dangerous environment, and no, I can't remember the story. I was going to come up with a little ditty for you, but it's escaped me.
That's okay. Perhaps you were, because of the situation of the environment, you've gone to other people that have done it before and see what are the things that you should watch out for. Because you were talking about opening perspective. You, as the leader and the founder of your community, perhaps we're always going through one-liner of tunnel vision and asking for help and asking for people's feedback. That's what I got from you when you were saying that in order to make your community sustainable, you need to ask in, and you also need to ask out.
Yeah, externally, yeah. I just can't remember what I was trying to get to with the canyoning story and being the dangerous environment. But yes, you do go outside. I think for me, when you're in these environments, that you always have to, oh, that's what I was saying. Now I remembered the point of the story. Hazardous environment. So what we have to do is double check, triple check, quadruple check. You're always checking, pushing the carabiner to make sure it's closed, checking the rope, looking for there, looking below. We don't just expect that it's done. Like when you're on the rope and climbing, you're kind of on the rope and you're okay. Not in this environment. So therefore, as per the activity, you've got to continually question what you're doing with the community. You've got to continually ask, continually check, continually assess where you are, what your goal is, are we on track? And that requires input from people externally and people internally.
You're always almost like product testing. Is this working for you? No, the community.
If we're not product testing every single day, and that's why I need to be freed up and bring more people in, because I've got all these creative ideas, and the creative ideas pile keeps going like this, and I never get to it. And if I don't, then we're going to become stale. But any entrepreneur in any place will say, hey, you need to keep evolving. You need to keep innovating. You need a new product. I need to curate new experiences. you need to do this in a different way. We need to change the onboarding process. We need to look at really creating a solid foundation in how we can improve the well-being aspect and training for the people within the community. There's all sorts of things that we can continue to do. It's never ending.
Yeah. Juggling creativity versus reality, and within budgets and timeframes. That's what us entrepreneurs have to do with, and it sounds like in any environment, it doesn't matter if we are a product, a service, or in the community-based services. So your unique value proposition, the things that you give your community to experience are especially the things that have made you grow, and also be connected to other communities and with other brands that also support your business. I know that you have had collaborations with Adventure Cleanup a few years back in some beach cleanups and adventure cleanups. And this year you are working with Eco Drive, and there's Andy Cornish, the ambassador for the Sharks and the race with the WWF. So how do you create these collaborations, and how useful are they for your own community?
I think, again, it's aligning yourselves with individuals or companies or organizations with similar messaging, similar values, etc. The community is broad. You're going to bring people in, and again, you want to align yourself with these people. Adventure Cleanup, I've been very passionate about the environment. For many years, my friend Craig Leeson directed and starred in a movie called A Plastic Ocean, which is on Netflix. And if you haven't seen it already, I'd be surprised. But if you're involved in the environmental space or are passionate about the environment, you should go and look at Plastic Oceans. I know the Seaspiracy is the recent movie that's come out. I'm not going to comment about that. But Plastic Oceans really highlighted to many people at the time the issue of plastic pollution and waste in our environment and its impact on climate change. So this was probably about 10 plus years ago now, and Craig's a very close friend of mine. So from then, I've always been passionate about trying to affect change in that. So meeting Esther and Sol, who are the founders of Adventure Cleanup, and they said, listen, we've got this first, and I actually went out with them and did a cleanup thing, and then they created this competition, and I said, I'd love to be involved. It's adventure, it's adventurous environments, it's cleanup. You know, for me, and I don't think anyone in this space will disagree, that cleanups are not the solution for our world. It's too late at that stage. But we use these because they're quite common and popular as a platform to educate people. So, and actually part of the process with Adventure Cleanup, we had 10 teams of 10. It went on for a month, which was quite a long time, I have to say. But it wasn't just about how many bags of trash we can take out from our site. It's about the techniques employed and how, you know, clever you came up with solutions to your particular location and how to overcome those. It was about community engagement. I went with my partner, Derek, to one of the local schools, and we got dressed up in our climbing gear and went in with our hats on, and they all had a bit of a laugh. But you know what, you know, as part of the engagement of the community, but you know what, kids kind of get it. They've been born into this situation that we've created for them. It's adults, you know, people in, I mean, teenagers and early 20s now get it, thanks to Greta and everyone else making positive commitments and trying to affect positive change through education in the world. You know, it's fabulous. But there we go again. I've got off tangent again. Can you bring me back?
How are those important, these collaborations with you for growing your own community? So
doing all that was very positive part of it. So it wasn't just about doing the cleanup for Adventure Cleanup. It was about the community engagement. It's about, I had to fill in a spreadsheet of information about what we've done. We turned up, we've cleaned about this many bags, we used these techniques, we all turned up with reusable water bladders to drink, you know, and you know, again, walking the eco talk, not just, you know, leading by example, not just following. So for me, that was very easy, and they're still going, and I'm always on the side helping them. I haven't participated in any more competitions, but because the community takes up a lot of my time now. But always on the side, ready to help those ladies anytime. I think they're doing a great job. EcoDrive is a new thing. I can't really talk about much of that at the moment. There's a new campaign coming out very soon. But again, all of it works with Andy and everybody else that we collaborate with. It's all a question of aligning ourselves with positive people that share our goals. And it's about education. For the environment, we need government action to ban single-use plastics without question. Technology is improving all the time, but recycling is not the solution. We need to stop buying this stuff. This stuff has to not go into our environment. It needs to not be bought. We all need to change our behavior, change our mindset, in order to reach, the goals that we all wish to get to. And in order to that is about education. So we use all these collaborations as a form of educating people, sharing that education through our community and other communities, and that's what it's all about. So I'll do as much as I possibly can for these people, as it's very much a shared message.
Building strong community is all about collaborating and with other communities and using those platforms to educate, but also to share the information. As you were saying, it's wonderful that we know that the information is out there, because a lot of people will think, well, you've done this thing, but if I wasn't there, how can I know more? You are cross-sharing information through these collaborations in the community. That it is wonderful. You are working mainly here in Hong Kong and obviously exploring the Hong Kong environment. But if you were to expand globally, or anybody in the same industry that will think, okay, I have my brand here and I want to expand it globally, what would you have to think about if you were to go somewhere else? Is there any things that we need to watch out for? Perhaps the terrain or the branding itself? Is there any tips there?
I think we're a little bit unique in this situation as to what we offer and what we're doing as a community. Hong Kong is incredibly unique, as I've been here all most of my life. We have the local geographic topography where we have a city surrounded by mountains. We can get to the border with China in less than an hour, which basically means that all the activities we do, and there's lots and many places to go. So much so that, even the ones I know right now, it'll be 5 years before most people in the community get there because there's just too many. And we're growing too fast. So it's great because in Hong Kong, and this is what I like to do, because it's not just about taking a whole weekend to do something outdoors. It's about just taking 3 or 4 hours of your time. So we leave early in the morning. We can drive out or bus out or MTR out. The access is amazing with local transport, and you can be pretty much anywhere within an hour, doing incredible things, and then back again to socialize, to connect with each other again, which is very much what we do as well. And that's about a question of creating new bonds, creating new friendships. And that's empowering too, for a lot of people that find it very hard to come out of their shell. We have a lot of these people, and I've heard reports back, even from other people, about particular people in the community that they were very shy at first, and then they've come through with the friends in their group and the community and challenged themselves in this outdoor environment, and they have felt much more comfortable, becoming more outgoing. I was a bit quiet at first, but then she's chatting away, I didn't even think anything of it. But for me, that's what we're all about. So we meet up afterwards. We're always engaging. We've had relationships, we've had marriages, we've even had babies of people in the community. So it's not just doing our outdoor, activities. It's doing cleanup commitments together. It's doing social gatherings, arranging. We did a snake safari with William Sargent the other week, bringing people together to do new unique things. But all this is very unique for Hong Kong. We can do the 3 or 4 hours in the day, especially in this heat. That's plenty, and then come back and have the rest of the day to ourselves, or however we want to share it with other people, or what you want to do. So I'm very lucky to have found this path for myself with the community, and how I know it's helping people, But how does that translate to anywhere else in the world? Well, it's very difficult, in fact. Hong Kong is a tier 1 global financial city. There's no other tier 1 city where you can go in half an hour, be canyoning down a waterfall or rock climbing or there's none of that. London, New York, you're traveling for 3 hours a day even, or it's, of course there's cities that have outdoors in their backyard, like maybe Toronto. I wouldn't consider that a tier 1 financial city, but we are very uniquely placed in Hong Kong. So for me, my focus is now, is not about the adventure, not about the activities, it's about the well-being. So for me, yes, I would love to expand globally, but I'd have to change the makeup. It will still be about bringing individuals together and challenging them in an outdoor environment, but the activities may be different. The timeline might be different, but I just have to adapt. But for me, it's really going to be based more around the well-being aspect of the community and bringing individuals together to challenge each other and improve. And I'd have to look at the various locations where it might work. I guess I would have to have a personal connection, or I'd have to have people that I feel have the same values that can help me with the geographic situation. But yes, it won't be canyoning, rock climbing, and coasteering. It might be skiing, it might be mountaineering, but it will always be about the well-being and bringing individuals together.
So the core of your community, the passion stays there. It's just about the adaptability depending on the terrain and perhaps what that community in that space requires. But the core will never change. You're still educating, making people feel confident and having this good experience at the end of all.
I think, that's very much it. I think even now, once we have a more open environment, although really what we do is all about Hong Kong, HKOutsider, that we wouldn't, I think now we have a platform. There's no reason we can't adapt and do trips outside Hong Kong. Taiwan, for instance, has amazing canyoning. It's a whole different level. It's like Europe. It's amazing. And we would do trips outside. So maybe that'll be a forerunner for me to look at doing longer trips when I find different locations that might work, if we can bring that kind of community feel to that area.
But you already have a strong community, so it's more on the logistics, not building that sentiment.
Yeah.
Before I open the floor to our attendees, I want to ask your last question. What would be your last piece of advice for our entrepreneurs if they want to get into this space, environmental space, social entrepreneurship, NGO, anything that has to do with giving back to community? What should they think about?
I keep saying this, it's, you can't, if you want to be passionate about the environment and the outdoor space, that's fine. You have to have the passion. You can't think of where can I, and this is a big problem in the environmental space at the moment, greenwashing and the monetary values associated with creating products or, and things like that. I don't really want to add too much weight to that, but it's a problem. So your goal can't be, I want to be, I want to make money, or I want to do this. You have to have an overarching view to affect positive change in the world for yourself and for others. Listen, if it's about making changes or in the environmental space, just start small and do things like that. That's more for a personal perspective. If you want to create a movement or a community or a business around it, you need to find your own path. I don't think you can actually create an idea. You maybe need to connect with people in the space, come out with us. For us, the environmental protection and the adventuring goes hand in hand, because we're literally the most interactive group, or if you're in the outdoor space, you're the most interactive with seeing exactly what is going on, because most people don't see 50 meters off the beach either side. The beaches get cleaned by government or cleanups all the time. 50 meters around the coast, you got 3 meters high of polystyrene lunchboxes, or actually not even lunchboxes, just the small pellets, which you can't clean away. No one sees that. So we have a very unique perspective of what damage is being done by the population in terms of environmental damage. Listen, I'm not quite sure I'm giving you the answer you need. But number one is passion. You don't do it for a monetary goal, or I want to be the best at, or you want to be successful. You do it because it's the right thing to do. And it's aligned with the people that you look up to, and then just get stuck in. I mean, you just have to meet people and experience it. It's not difficult to help an environment. There's cleanups and this, that, and the other. But you know, don't think about the cleanups too much. It's about the education. Maybe educate yourself so you can educate others, and walk the path. Lead by example is another one of my favorite sayings.
Connect, be passionate, and educate. One question from our floor, and I know someone there in Thailand may have a little question for you, Roland. Hi, Rachel. Yes, she raised her hand. I leave it to you.
Perfect. I kind of have a two-part question. So I'll ask the first part first. The first part was, how did you find an issue that you wanted to create an impact in?
Well, I think I just answered that 25 seconds ago. Well, firstly, when I met my friend Craig, and when he was producing the movie A Plastic Ocean, and I realized how much damage had been done. That was the question, right? What was the question again?
How did you find an issue created?
Yeah. Well, he made that issue very bloody clear. He was. We've got a big floating garbage patch in the middle of the ocean. This is a serious problem. And then the marine life and stuff. I'm an avid diver as well, so it's. But you know, I haven't dived that. I mean, I used to dive lots in the 80s and 90s, but in recent years, not so much. But it's still an issue, and we're in the ocean all the time here. But that's how it started. But as I said, when I said 25 seconds ago, we are in the environment. We see what's going on. You cannot be standing on the sidelines. This is our playground. Every weekend we go out. It's our backyard. It's our playground. This is where we live. And listen, I'm sure it's not all people. You see, listen, I've seen gas cans. I've seen doll houses in the middle of a waterfall, you know, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, how the heck does that get there? And it's not about maybe just people throwing trash. There's other issues, like the bins get knocked over by wild boar, and then the rains come and the monsoons, and it washes it into the waterways, because we're seeing it in the waterways. The ocean is obviously ocean trash. So this is the whole point about education. We have to stop putting it in the system. Stop buying plastic bottled water. Stop buying straws. If someone tries to give you a straw with a bottle of Coke, I love bottles of Coke because they're recyclable and they taste so much better. But everyone keeps trying to give you a straw. God, give me the straw. I don't need the straw. It's that perceived value of a straw. We don't need it. No one needs a straw unless you're having a cocktail and got all your makeup on, ladies. But then you can carry a steel straw for your own benefit. But so the issue started with my friend Craig Leeson, and when he was putting together A Plastic Ocean. And then, you know, ever since I've been involved, and it's just worse and worse and worse, where we see the trash and the makeup of trash when we go on our hikes. Every single time. That's why I say in my little brief, it's the only thing I say, but it's enough. We are very anti-plastic bottles. Please bring a bladder or a usable bottle. And often in the early days, there'd be people huddling. They're way behind in the group, and they're sort of huddling around. I go, what's going on back there, guys? Stacey's bought a plastic bottle. She doesn't want you to see it. And I laugh, and everyone laughs. But you know what? The message was received, and it doesn't matter that she's done it. She understands it's wrong, and that behavior will change, and therefore she will change other people's behavior going forward. Just these little things. That's why I'm always happy to go to the supermarket and juggle loads of stuff. And people say, you know, what are you doing? I said, well, I forgot my reusable bag, and I certainly ain't going to take a plastic one. I don't care if it costs 50 cents or $50. So I'm juggling all the way back. You've got to lead by example.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. That's so true. And the second part is, what has been the most rewarding and empowering thing for you developing this community so far?
I don't think it's one thing. I think it's the little stories that come back about that gentleman I was saying who came out of his shell, about people struggling with personal identity, all the little stories about empowerment from being part of the community. I'm not sure I can remember the first one, but because there's so many, and that for me they all add up, and that's what it means to me. This is the whole reason I do it. If one person gets something out of it, then I feel I've done my job.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And I can't wait to get out with you guys at some point.
Okay.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. And it's true. I mean, I'm sure you can have a big book around all the stories that have happened in HKOutsider and all the adventures. Thank you once again, Roland, and obviously our Few community for being here with us, connecting a little bit for the whole duration. It's been very, very empowering. And if you want to go out and experience these adventures with Roland, make sure to connect with him on his IG, HKOutsider, or website, right, Roland? Where they can find you?
HKOutsider.com, HKOutsider, anywhere you like. That's what we are. Adventure@HKOutsider.com is the email. You can find us online.
I'm sure. Make sure you go. And it's getting hot, but there's so many activities water-based and experience Hong Kong. And if you're not in Hong Kong, whenever you are able to come here, please connect. Thank you. We have another wonderful session next week with Jody Chan. And if you can't connect, rewatch the replay. And I'll say bye for now. Chat next week. Thank you.
Bye.